Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask an Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada, the engineer. With me, Mr. Lady Ada Phil, on camera control and behind the scenes work, making this all thing happen. We got an exciting show for you tonight, jam-packed with videos and stories and products and discount codes and calculators from the 1970s. All that and more on the next hour. The most interesting thing you can do for the next hour, believe me. Why don't we kick off? Yeah, I think so. Let's kick off the show. Mr. Lady Ada, what is on tonight's show, please?
On tonight's show, the code is Inductive, 10% off at Adafruit store, all the way up to probably midnight, or when I remember to turn the code off. Inductive is the code, 10% off all the items in stock. Get it while it lasts. Talk about our Adafruit live series of shows, including Show and Tell, time travel look around the world, makers, hackers, artists, engineers, news, and more. Help wanted, some jobs from the jobs board, jobs.adafruit.com. Main New York City factory footage, some footage around the New York City factory, which we call Adafruit, and then also a time lapse from across the street. Some 3D printing, 2 projects from Noah and Pedro this week, and a cool speed up, especially if you've been watching things on the Marvel universe. It's a theme. Got Eye on MPI, brought to you by Adafruit and DigiKey. New products, we got a ton this week.
Tons.
Top secret, also have a bunch.
Tons.
We'll answer your questions.
Tons.
We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. Congratulations, Discord, for your $500 million funding that you got today.
Damn, that's
Woof. Cool. They decided not to sell to Microsoft, and they just took a bunch of money instead.
Yay.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Maybe.
All 30,000 of you are over on our community on Discord. It'll be 31,000 soon. All that and more tonight on, you guessed it,
Dun, dun, dun.
Ask an Engineer.
Okay. Yeah, we have a really jam-packed show. I mean,
There's a lot going on.
We're back on our bullshit. We're back on our engineering. We're back on our content. We're doing so much design work, putting so many new products in, doing a lot of videos. A lot of people are back from vacation, well-deserved, well-needed vacation. So let's we can get right into it after you just check in.
Doing a couple things there.
No, it's cool.
All
There's
right.
a lot going on.
A lot going on. All right. So first up, let me just do COVID-related news.
Not gone yet.
No, it wants to stick around.
I know.
We're all done with COVID, but it's not done with us.
Yeah.
Someone's saying we got a little bit of clipping action going
You're
on
a little loud.
Yeah.
I'm at like at 6 and you're at like 0.
Let me go to this before, so it's
Yeah?
not just like a COVID thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me. So we had a guest on our show last week, so I had to change the audio for that. And then this week, I'm going to just change this a little bit. So
Yeah.
give me one moment. All right. We'll see how that goes. Anyways.
It's fine. Oh yeah, that's much better. You were like at the top.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
All right, anyways. So here's our COVID news for the week. We're, just like everybody else, getting news. So the way the federal national mandates are going to work, it's part of OSHA, and over the next couple of weeks, the rules will be finalized. Companies over 100 people, we fall in that category, will have to do it. And just did a meeting with our employment lawyer. And just so you all know, because I feel like it's a good idea to share this stuff, just like we do with all parts of the business.
Yeah.
So what we're starting off with is an employee survey, and they're going to say if they've been vaccinated or if they're going to be vaccinated by one of these first dates. We're probably like 99% there, if not 100, we'll see, just based on how we work with each other and how we've collaboratively tried to get through the last 18 months together. But you never know. So that's what we're doing first. And if someone were to ask me, because I've been talking to lawyers and other business owners and people who are in the like HR industry, I really think spending time with your employees, and if you don't have like some type of weekly meeting that has other things other than like COVID news, it's never too late to start those. But really giving everyone the information and showing them each step along the way what you're doing and why, and how there's things that the state or city or federal government will require, and then there's things that your own company can do. And I think getting as much input from everyone, and like, I know that this is all like
nobody wants to do this.
It's all trite and unamusing, and it's in like business books about leadership and everything. But usually, leadership is taking on the tasks that no one wants to do, and then excelling at it. And it's a weird thing to say. It's like it's often stuff that no one wants to do. That's what leadership is.
Yes.
So if you could break through that and have sometimes uncomfortable conversations with people. I've taken folks to the CVS and help them get vaccinated. So as other members of our team, I think that's the right approach, but I understand how other companies can get where they're at. So one of the things we're not going to do, when I saw in the news, it's like, oh, like United is going to raise the healthcare prices for the unvaccinated. They're going to do this. They're going to,
and then less paid time off, and you can't do that.
It's all these these forms of torture for coworkers, and I think they could get to the goal of what they have, which is a safe working environment with folks getting vaccinated, without coming up with these torture ideas about how they're going to take things away and how they're going to just basically be mean to people that on the other side of this, they're going to have to still work together.
Yes.
And I think just saying like, hey, like, how can we make this happen together is a better approach. Anyways, maybe we'll ask me in 2 weeks how I feel about it. But anyways.
It's like collaborating on code, but with absolutely everybody on Earth.
Yeah. So I think that we'll be just like a lot of things Adafruit does, I think just our approach is a little different. And I think we'll have everyone safe, everyone vaccinated, and we won't have to do all the terrible things that companies are like coming up with to get them there. I think there's a way.
Yep.
But again, ask me in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that's the COVID update, news and more. I hope that helps some folks that are running companies or work at companies too. You can send them a link to this. There is a way usually to get to the goals together.
Yes.
For the folks that are going to use the code tonight, it is inductive. And
It's 10% off.
you also get free stuff.
Just about everything in the store. Also, yes, if you order from Adafruit.com, you will get some free stuff. Free stuff we have is $99 or more, a free PermaProto half-size breadboard, a wonderful way to take your project and make it permanent. $149 or more, you get a free Stemma QT board. We have a range of sensors and boards and drivers and all that good stuff. You'll get a different one each time if you make an account. Then we will give you a different one. For sure, because we know which ones we've already sent you. If you don't make an account and check out as guest, we'll just you'll get a random one, arbitrary. $199 or more, free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. That's trackable, reliable shipping. And $299 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground Express, our favorite all-in-one development board, made for people who want to make projects, do electronics, learn to code, and they don't want to do any soldering. It's plug and play. All you need is a USB cable, which you probably have. Look under your desk. It's there.
Okay, we do a whole bunch of live shows. We do these every single week. Special thanks to JP this week. Did the show until next week is
Thank
Noah
you.
and Pedro.
Yep.
And I glanced over because I was wrapping up show stuff.
It's cool. They had synthesizers and robots.
Yeah, and Jay was there.
Yeah.
And it was Jay's birthday not too long ago. I sent some Adafruit store credit.
Ooh.
And I think there was some Adafruit stuff going on there.
Yep.
So I'm going to watch that as soon as we're done with the show.
Okay.
On Sundays, we do Desk of Lady Ada. The first part of Desk of Lady Ada was what you were working on. What were you
On my
working
desk. Okay, what was I working on? Oh, that's right. I finished up my UPDI standalone programmer, so I need that to be able to make boards with AT-Tiny chips that now they use a one-wire programming system called UPDI. I kind of worked on this a couple months ago, and then I have to finish it up. So I just showed that I got it working. You can now program chips and verify them from in an Arduino sketch, so you don't need a computer, which is like awesome. And then I sort of showed how I build a tester. So I started the first half of making a tester breakout that will let me have a Metro M0 or M4 program, test, and verify a board in hopefully a couple seconds. That's kind of one of our secret sauces for how we get boards made so fast in-house, is that the test procedure takes 10 seconds or less.
Okay. And then we do the Great Search. That's with DigiKey. And Lady Ada uses her powers of engineering
Yes.
and decades of searching the internet for parts.
I am so good at it.
What did you find this week?
I'm not happy there's a part shortage, obviously. I hate that people aren't able to get their parts, but I will say I was made for this. Like, I was born into the part shortage. I'm like Bane, but for like finding components.
I was born in the shortage.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, like today, like I found those LiPoly charger chips. I snapped them up like that, and Mary was like,
Yeah.
"Nice, you got those so fast." Anyways, it's my thing. Anyways, so it's kind of what I do. The CP2104, one of our favorite USB to serial converter chips. We love it. We use it in our feathers. We use it in our breakouts. We use it on our metros. It is NRND. I think this is the first time we've talked about NRND part. Non-returnable, I don't remember what the D stands for, but basically, this is their like last chance to. Oh, sorry, not NR. Sorry, NRND is not returnable. It's not recommended for new designs. There's a different thing for not returnable. Not recommended for new designs means you can still buy the chip, but they don't recommend it for new
Yeah.
designs because it is going to go end of line soon. So they've moved from the CP2104 to the CP2102N. So I talk about that chip, and also I show you some other variant USB serial converter chips that you can check out, as well as some hints. I've used a lot of different ones, and so I have a little bit of feedback on the different makers and models. But luckily, there even is CP2102Ns in stock at DigiKey, and I show you the only thing you have to do the schematic to change it to make it work with your design.
Okay, tune in this Sunday for another one. All right, JP's Product Pick does this every week. It's the only live show that I know of in the United States that broadcasts from a product page.
Inside the product page, and you get like half off.
Yeah.
And we've kept track of how many products we sell on each show, where more people are tuning in to buy more stuff at half off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's true.
All right, so let's do this week's highlight.
FM radio breakout. I've got a little sort of numbers station type of thing playing right now. It's going to play on the initial frequency. After 6 seconds, it's actually going to change itself, and I'm going to tune it down to 90.
Mr. Cunningham
So it started
said,
broadcasting.
"You must mean the camels
A
in
couple
Egypt
seconds later, it's going to go out.
going on."
Now I'm going to retune,
Lands and ocean, Earth's flat,
and there it is again. Oh, not as
trees,
good a
even those
reception there.
leaves,
So you can imagine
pheasants,
that you
writing.
could have this happen programmatically. You could have it changing at random intervals. RDS is how you end up with some info on your usually car stereo display that tells you the artist and song. So that's the product pick of the week. It is the FM transmitter breakout.
Okay, and tomorrow is JP's workshop, and right before the show started, JP sent me this little clip. This is a preview of what you'll see tomorrow.
Sunny, 55 degrees.
All right. I'm looking forward to Radiohead re-releasing Keycaps over and over. It's kind of like your advice to me, just read Dune over and over again. Don't read the other books.
I have
Anyways.
there's two pieces of media that I say just do the same thing over and over, and that's The Matrix. Just watch the first one 3 times, and then Dune.
I'm going to
just-
watch the latest Matrix that's coming out.
That's different, okay?
different,
But I'm saying
okay.
2 and 3, and then Dune. Yes, just read the first Dune, and
Alright.
then just glue the covers of the other books on top of Dune, and it's better that way.
I hear you.
Okay.
Okay, and then we also do CircuitPython Parsec on JP's show, and then we have a highlight, of course, from this week as well.
CircuitPython News.
For the CircuitPython Parsec today, I want to talk about returning multiple values from a function. So what you can see here in my code is that I am importing from the random library randint, that gives me random integers, time, so I can do a little sleep, Adafruit macropad, which takes care of a whole bunch of stuff with the display, and then I'm creating the macropad object. Now I've created this little function that's called getRandomXY. This function right here, you feed it a minimum and a maximum for X positions and a minimum and maximum for Y positions. It returns the X and Y location using a random inside of those constraints. That fact that it can return both of those values is the cool part here, because I can use just one function and a lot of different parts of my code can keep calling back to it to grab these two XY random values. Then inside of the main loop of the program, you can see I'm casting a variable called x and a variable called y to the return that we get from that function. So get random xy, and then I'm saying I want to go a minimum of 16, which is a little offset from the left, and a maximum of 112, a little offset from the right, and same for the y-axis, 16 and 48. Then I'm printing that to my little serial display. Go ahead and see that happening right there. So those values, x and y, are what get returned from my function, and then I'm just using this macropad.display image, a little BMP file, and then its position is that random x and that random y position inside of some constraints that my function returned. And then we do a little sleep. And the result is, you can see I've got this little blip, this little sort of Space Invaders alien jumping around the screen there inside of my constraints. And so that is how you can return a couple of values from a function inside of CircuitPython. And that is your CircuitPython parsec.
Okay, and this Friday, tune in to Deep Dive with Scott. I think this is going to be the
man.
CircuitPython running on bare metal on a Raspberry Pi.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I
we'll see.
sort of put in a request for it. Of course, it's whatever Scott wants to do. It's Scott's hour, but
It's Scott show starring Scott.
it is pretty cool. Scott's spent a lot of time on the Bluetooth Low Energy stuff lately. It's in a really good spot, and part of like the dessert treat of
Yeah.
doing that. I think
It'll be on a deep dive no matter what, but
Yeah.
it might be this week. We'll
check
see.
it out.
All right, time travel. Okay, first up this week on time travel, we're going to do a little calculator retro history with Phil B. This is a good one.
Phil be so good on the retro stuff.
I watched it earlier today when I was putting together the show.
Put your headphones on for this one.
It's a good one.
Hey look, it's some old calculators from 1973 and 1980. It's usually the LED displays on these that get people's attention, but I wanted to talk about a couple different things. First is, these always came with a slipcase. It wasn't an aftermarket thing like your phone case, it just came with it. This one has a belt loop if you're just that hardcore. These things were built like tanks. It's not like they needed the slipcase, but it was a tradition carried over from more delicate slide rules. The other thing I've got to mention is the buttons, which feel and sound delightful. That comes from using metal dome switches, the same as the clicky buttons on early joysticks. Newer calculators use either membrane or elastomer keypads. It's easier to manufacture. And I won't knock it because that does make them more affordable and accessible to people. So I like that, it's just the new buttons don't spark the same joy.
And a reminder, we have less than 100 slots open in AdaBox already. Halloween is about a month-ish away, so here's your chance. You should sign up for AdaBox.
You'll get this box. You could get a year subscription. You can give it as a gift.
Yeah, we
We
might
always
not
have
have...
an amazing Halloween box.
Yeah, and if you want to give a gift of AdaBox for the holidays, it might be a good idea to do that now too, because we'll probably be full for the holidays.
Yes, JP
So,
is
we'll
already
see.
planning the next video, and you know they're going to be good.
Yeah.
You want to be part of this.
There's a lot going
Don't
on
miss
for
out.
this one. Okay, Collins Lab. We do a Collins Lab Notes video every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. This week, I'm picking one,
one?
the Pogo Pin one.
Cool.
Here it is.
Pogo pins are tiny spring-loaded components which allow the board they're mounted on to make momentary but electrically sound contact with another circuit. They're perfect for test jigs, when you need to perform the same QA test on an entire batch of boards. Position, apply pressure, and repeat. The type of board you're testing will likely dictate which type of pogo pin you should use. The needlehead pogo is a good fit for small signal pads dedicated to testing. The cupped head can fit over small solder joints, such as the top side of a row of header pins. The somewhat intimidating spearhead works well for empty through-hole pads. And if you need additional stability or more contact with the test surface, the Regal crown head may be a better fit.
Okay, you can go to jobs.adafruit.com and check out our jobs board. We made this so folks can post their skills, get jobs, or if they're a company, they can post what they're looking for. And usually, I would say, every company, no matter what they do, has something to do with electronics now.
or coding or making or
Yeah.
prototyping or crafting.
And the innovations you see in the engineering and maker and artist communities, that's what employers are looking for. And so I think this was a neat one this week. One, this is a
Black & Decker.
microcontroller C++ programmer. And then the other one, Stanley Black & Decker, they're looking for electrical engineers and technicians for power tools and things like IoT, things like
Motor
machine
control,
learning, you name
yeah.
it. And so they just posted that up on our jobs board. I mentioned it last week, but I also thought it would be good
I
to
mean,
mention it
DeWalt,
today.
Black & Decker, and Stanley,
Yeah.
these are like really well-established American brands. If you can get a job there, I'm sure you're going to be working with some of the
Yeah.
best people making reliable tools.
There's material stuff. It's like building a little robot. So I think
Yes.
that's kind of cool.
It's true, they are little robots.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Screwdriver is like a little robot.
Yep. You can use a screwdriver, a power screwdriver, to power a robot too, because
That's true.
they've taken care of that. All right, next up. Python on hardware news. Going to go over a couple things, and then the usual. I picked one topic that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
It's going to be a little surprising this week.
What?
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, first up, congratulations. We mentioned this before, but we're up to 9,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, go
It's
to
now over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
That's like an old meme.
go to adafruitdaily.com and sign up there. It's not connected to your Adafruit store account. We don't spam. We don't harvest anything. We made a completely separate site. Use those like email tricks so you can see if we ever use your email address
Yeah.
for anything else. We don't.
Yeah, don't trust us.
That's why I say it. So do that because after we hit like a milestone like 9,000, it'll
Yeah.
slow down a little bit. Then it'll get like 10,000. But if you could sign up, we'd appreciate that because you'll get all this delivered to your inbox every week.
It's my favorite newsletter.
Jepler stopped by. Check out our.
You don't remember that? That was last week.
That was last week. Check out our video, and then also Jeff's usually around in the chats and all that too. So Jeff got his picture taken. If you work for Adafruit, you get your picture taken, and you get to hang out with Blinka.
This is why you want to be a core contributor to CircuitPython.
This is one of the benefits.
It's one of the benefits.
Yeah. So lots of different things. We posted up about the study of open source hardware in the EU. There's a bunch of projects in addition to events and more. But this week, the thing that I wanted to start to talk about is we ported CircuitPython features to Arduino.
Yes, we learned things.
Yeah. So I thought this was interesting because this is the snake wagging the tail or something. But it's interesting because
Yes.
we did.
Yes.
I think we're still the.
I like that graphic. Did
Yeah.
you draw that?
No, that's Ann.
Oh, nice work, Dan.
I think we're one of. Now I'm just going to say it because unless someone will tweet at me if
Wow.
I'm wrong. We're the largest. We're the biggest contributor to the
Oh, we have
Arduino
the most
libraries.
Yeah, we definitely have those
And
libraries.
so as we were doing CircuitPython, we're like, we learned a lot. Let's do a lot of things. And then we had some requests for Arduino. We do a yearly thing like, oh, here's what we'd like to see in Arduino. And so we did get to this one for Arduino. And I'll go over some of the things that we had requested. But what is this? For the folks that do Arduino coding, they're going to be like, this is the best thing ever.
If you have code like this in your libraries or your examples, and if you write Arduino, you probably do this like wire write, wire send, and then you request and send and receive, and you're just tired of the same code over and over again, especially if you're doing driver libraries for chips where it uses like SM bus registers where you write the register address and then you read data from that address. There's so much boilerplate that's constantly redone over and over and over again to like read buffers, and what if you have to read or write more than 32 bytes, and then you have to do multiple transactions. Anyways, so one of the cool things about CircuitPython is because we did that, we basically structured it. I was like, all the things I didn't want to do in Arduino, I made sure that we fixed and made working easier in CircuitPython. So doing stuff like register access and writing large chunks of data to and from I2C and SPI is a lot easier. And then I was like, I want to take that simplicity, and some of it's also from Linux, by the way. Linux also has a really good API that we borrowed from in GPIO 0. But the whole idea of like write then read and the prefixing and like, having it just be one transaction where you send and receive a buffer. So you can see all the code on here, all of it got replaced with that down there. And what's cool is that there are platform by platform changes to how wire and SPI work. Believe me, I have found out they're not all exactly the same. And so all of that complexity is hidden now in a library. And it's like, I just say, here's what I want to do, and it will do the best it can, depending on the platform, to have repeated starts or clock stretching or large buffered reads and concatenations. and all that good stuff. So, maybe we'll even support, in SPI we support software, Bitbang SPI as well, and we'll probably add Bitbang I2C. So just like taking all that complexity that is just, I've been copying and pasting through like 400 libraries, and we're just fleshing it out, and Carter's doing an amazing job going through and updating all our libraries.
So we have a blog post of this and more, and then the other thing we have is if you go to our December of 2019 blog post,
Wow.
you can see the features that we had asked Arduino to consider, download stats for the Arduino community, tiny USB support in Arduino Core, UFT bootloader support, Arduino library standards and automation.
That's the stuff I'm working on a
Uniform
lot.
transfer of structured data.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. IO.
Support for Grove Quick Stemma, and that was actually on the mailing list today.
If we did another post, I would actually ask for the same exact stuff. This is the stuff, the tooling and the tool chain stuff, and continuous integration and standards for library writers. Oh boy, that would be so great.
So this is the reason I'm putting this in the Python on hardware section is because we wanted to see something in Arduino, but because it wasn't there, we were able to do it in CircuitPython,
And then now we can
and now we're
do it. Yeah.
putting it in Arduino. So there's lots of different ways to get to a destination. This is one of them.
Yep.
And that is the Python on hardware news this week.
Thank you, Blinka.
Okay, we're an open source hardware company because we're just talking about open source. One little programming note, October is Open Hardware Month. I'll probably be doing a series of articles. I will not have time to do an article a day, which I've tried to do in other months when there was an Open Hardware Month. I'll probably do a few articles. You could check out ohm.oshwa.org, and there'll probably be some events and more, and I'm going to try to get some of the OSHWA folks on one of our show and tells or something.
This is a good time to, if you have open hardware, register it with the Open Source Hardware Registry.
Certify.
We have a couple blog posts, certify it. It's a good thing to do in October.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, we have 2,537 guides for our product, software, and more.
Yay.
Lady Ada, what are the guides this week?
Okay, we have a bunch of new guides. We've got a Kattni updated our INA 219 guide. Known Pedro and Liz Clark wrote a wireless BLE gesture mouse project for last week, which is really cool. I think this is a really great stepping stone for if you want to have like HID or like BLE wireless data. We also have a guide for our 1.7-inch round rectangle display. Carter updated our Pi Zero headless quick start. And then do you want to?
Yeah. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah. We also wrote a guide specifically for Mp3 playback, audio playback on the RP2040 with CircuitPython. It turns out that even though there's not a DSP in that Cortex M0, it is fast enough to decode MP3s up to like 64 kilobit per second, which is pretty cool. We should how to do that with PWM output or with I2S output. Also got this week's cool project. We watched Suicide Squad a month ago, and we saw this. Spoiler alert: there's these Starro things that fall on people's heads, and they have an eye in the middle, and we're like, oh my god, we should totally make that with the Hollowing because it's exactly the hardware we have. Noah and Pedro did that this week. JP shows you how to make your own detachable USB cable with aviator connectors. And Dylan rocked out with a very common request, how to communicate between two boards. You want to send data back and forth, not wirelessly. Here's how to do it with UART, and there's some great example code that you can use and adapt. This one is light sensor to neopixels, but of course it can be any kind of data back and forth between two microcontrollers.
All right, let's do some factory footage. And it wouldn't be New York City factory footage unless you saw the
The
Disney
building's getting built.
building a time lapse from across the street. If you've tuned in for a couple of years, you're going to be able to see this building from demolished to a giant, I guess, mouse or something. I don't know. All right, 3D printing.
Big golden ears.
Yeah, and I think we're doing good on time. So I'm going to play all the 3D printing videos back to back. This is the Bluetooth mouse, the Starro face thing, and then the speed up of Captain America who got turned into a zombie.
It's good. We got both Marvel and DC Universe for you. So whatever your interests are.
Yeah. I don't think they'll be allowed to merge.
I don't know if they would.
I don't think they'll be allowed to.
I'm sure there's plenty of podcasts.
I'm sure Disney's
about-
trying to work it, but
I know.
we'll see.
All right.
Hey, what's up folks? In this project, we're making a BLE mouse with Adafruit's Feather Sense. This project uses an accelerometer to make mouse movements so you can wirelessly control your computer. As you move the device, your computer's cursor will follow your movements. So you can tilt up or down and left and right to move the cursor. You can also use the onboard switch to send mouse clicks so you can navigate and click around. The Feather Sense and RF52840 has everything built in, so it makes these type of projects really easy to put together. The proximity sensor is used for scrolling. Just cover up the sensor with your thumb and tilt up or down to scroll a web page. This makes it a fully capable mouse that you can program to wirelessly control any computer over BLE. All you need to build this project is the Feather Sense, a slide switch, and a small LiPo battery. The code for this project was written in CircuitPython by Liz Clark and uses the BLE and HID libraries. Accelerometer data is converted into horizontal and vertical movements, and the degrees of motion affect the speed. In the serial console, you can see data from the sensors so you can fine-tune the sensitivity. The Feather Sense shows up as a BLE device and can connect to computers with either macOS or Windows. The code is up on GitHub and features comments so you can modify and customize it to fit your project. So if you're looking to make a wireless HID mouse, definitely check out CircuitPython for your next project. Thanks for watching, and be sure you're subscribed for more DIY projects from Adafruit. Hey, what's up folks? In this project, we're making a face mask inspired by Starro from the Suicide Squad. This mask is flexible and features blue and purples to look like those creepy starfish face huggers. The hollowing is the perfect board for this type of project. It's an easy way to get an animated eyeball with no coding skills required. The mask is 3D printed in flexible filament so it can wrap around your face. It's made from 2 separate pieces that are fastened together with machine screws. The flap on the back allows access to the built-in power switch so it's easy to turn on and off. All you need for this project is the hollowing, a LiPo battery, and a convex lens. The mask is 3D printed in NinjaFlex. This filament features a shore hardness of 85A, and it's both flexible and elastic. It's also 3D printed with some support material. These parts are stringy and need a bit of cleanup, which is easy to do with a pair of flush snips. To color the parts, you can airbrush both sides, starting with some shades of purple. Airbrushing NinjaFlex is a bit better than acrylic paints because it won't crack when flexing. Then you can add some blues and blend them together to make some gradients. The lens is added to the center hole cutout and is held in place with the lip along the edge. The hollowing board is placed on top with the mounting holes lined up. Machine screws can then be fastened to the built-in standoffs for a nice and secure fit. The back side can then be added with the flap lined up with a built-in switch. Machine screws are added to each of the mounting tabs with the 2 sides held together. You can paint over the screws with acrylic paints so they blend in with the rest of the mask. The tips of the mask are held in place overnight so it can retain that curved shape. You can add an extension cable for a bigger battery and hide it in your pocket so it's not directly over your face. You can add a strap or a piece of NinjaFlex to act as a string to keep the mask fitted over your face. We hope this inspires you to try out some NinjaFlex and check out the Adafruit hollowing for your next project. Thanks for watching, and be sure you're subscribed for more DIY projects from Adafruit.
And don't forget, every single Wednesday at 11, you can watch 3D Hangouts with Noam Pedro. We can learn how to make all this stuff and more. All right. Ready, Lady Ada, for
Yes.
the great search? You have some
got
stuff
it.
going on. All right. Sorry, not the great search. INMPI.
INMPI.
Okay, here we go. All right. This week's IMPI is from
Bud Industries.
Bud.
This is, I think, our first one from Bud. They're our
Yeah.
best buds. This is an American company that specializes in enclosures. They're really good at outdoor enclosures. And today we're featuring one of their enclosures. I think they did a really nice job on.
It's a nice box.
Yes, this is a nice box. So let's check this out. Okay, I'm going to have to hold this up.
Okay. I'm going to go to the first.
Yes, sorry. Please do.
Sure.
I'm going to read off the part number. This is the AIO 11111 or the 11112. So that's 4 ones and a 1 or a 2 from Bud Industries. They're very similar. This is kind of neat because I've seen enclosures that are, latched outdoor enclosures. Yes. I've seen outdoor enclosures that have clear fronts. Yes. But I have not yet seen an enclosure that has both. This enclosure, it's meant for, wall mounting electronic projects. And what's really neat about it, and I think let's go back to the front because to show this, I kind of need to be a little creative. Okay, so this is the enclosure. This is one of the biggest IMPIs. So this is one door that you can open and it's clear. And then there's a second door, which is latched. So I can open this like that. And then I can open this. I have to be careful not to clonk you or me. So there's basically a window here and a window there. And then there's this plate, which you can mount onto the back here to protect the inner area from the outer area. Like there's basically 2 sections of this enclosure, and so you can keep some parts safe and secure on the inside while having this door. Yeah, that second photo shows it pretty well. The second, the clear door can open up while keeping stuff on the inside safe. So why is this cool? Well, obviously, usually you have a clear, you have a clear front if you want to have LEDs or TFTs or gauges or whatever. But with this enclosure, the door lets you open up and also like press buttons or reset it without opening up the big part of the enclosure, which could get dust or water into it because both doors are gasketed and it's IP66. Okay, so let's go to number 2.
Yeah, so we have some measurements.
Yeah, so check out the data sheet because it's really nice. They did a good job giving you all the dimensions you could possibly need, the mounting bosses, the height, the depth, everything is quite nice. They've got it in DXF format as well as PDF, but I'm just showing 2 images from the data sheet, but there's a ton. Inside, there's mounting bosses with tons of holes for mounting internal circuitry or mechanical panels as a substrate. One of the really nice things about these enclosures, and I've seen a lot of enclosures, this really stuck out at me, is that the gasketing is, it's not like a bead ring. Sometimes you get O-rings or little beads, and they work okay, but this is actually kind of an extruded, thick plastic rubber gasket, and both doors are gasketed fully. So that's what gives it the IP66 rating, which means that it is fully dust-proof and it's waterproof, to the extent that you can have jets coming at it, and it'll be protected from water jetting in. Obviously, if you cut holes, you'll have to weatherproof those holes. I will mention that even though it's IP66 rated, the material it's made out of is ABS plastic and it's not UV treated, so it's not meant for outdoor in the sun exposure because it'll slowly crack the ABS plastic. You could put it outside, but just make sure it's not exposed to UV light. Which is hard to do if it's outside because outside there's sun. But if it is indoors, it's going to be well protected against any sort of dust or oil or water that you might have in your factory or around your robot or around your maker project, or maybe it's like a home automation center. That would be something really good to make with it. There's also some cool accessories if you want. That inner plate, you want to mount stuff to it, you can actually get plates. At the top, I show the images at the bottom are the DigiKey part numbers, and they have them in stock for a plastic plate and a metal plate that even has drill holes in it, so you can easily mount more complicated electronics or robotics components into the enclosure. And then, of course, the front plate, it has that little insert plate I showed you. It's also ABS plastic. So it's really easy to machine or mill. And I'll also show you the video about customization. But I think like if you want to make a project that has like, you know, a big power electronics thing or monitoring thing or IoT thing, and you want like that Raspberry Pi to be safe, and then you want the display and the buttons and the gauges separately available, this kind of gives you the best of both worlds. You don't have to pick and choose. And it's in stock.
Available on DigiKey.
There's two types. Again, there's the 1111 and there's the 1112. I think the 1111 is 7.5 inches deep and the 1112 is 9.5 inches deep. That's the depth from the wall. But check the specifications to make sure. As you saw, it's a pretty big box, but like it'll fit anything in it for sure. Definitely like a large display. And then of course use cable glands if you want to maintain the IP66 rating for all the cables that are coming out of it.
Yeah, someone in the chat said the inner panel is great for mounting screens, buttons, selector switches, and so on.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it's for, and I love that you can open up. You don't have to expose all the delicate innards. You can have a semi-protected area and then like the very delicate electronics behind it. Because every time you're opening that panel to reset the button or to adjust something or to turn it on or off, you don't want to expose all of your wiring to whatever dust, light, or oil or humidity that you've got in your house.
And here's a video about it.
Here's how to customize the box, which is a service that DigiKey and Bud offer together. So contact a DigiKey sales rep if you want to have like custom holes drilled in.
As your design work on your great new project is wrapping up, you realize that you need an enclosure. In the past, when time was tight, you would have to purchase a standard box and then send it out to either a local job shop or the shop in the back of your facility to have the holes and slots put in for such things as connectors, power cords, readouts, or whatever else you might need. This was either expensive or pulled your employees away from other jobs that they could be doing. But you really didn't have a choice, because getting a custom product out of a typical enclosure manufacturer was harder than getting a bill through Congress. Today, you have a great alternative. Bud Industries has pioneered rapid turnaround for modifications to its broad line of standard enclosures. Here are the quick steps to making it happen. First, use Bud's product selector to choose the product that best matches your needs. Then, check with Bud or your local distributor to be sure it's in stock. Once you've found the right enclosure, send us a drawing of required modifications to the box. Of course, CAD or 3D models are great, but Bud can also work with as little as a sketch. When we have received your information, we'll quickly get a quote out to you. As soon as you place your order, Bud will rapidly create a detailed drawing for you to approve. Once you confirm the drawings, Bud will complete your customized order in 6 days for the first run, or 5 days for repeat orders. This is 2 to 3 times faster than most enclosure suppliers and covers holes, slots, or other cutouts in the enclosure. Note that there is no premium charge for this service. It's just Bud's everyday great service.
All right, let's do the code. Inductive.
Okay.
Use it or lose it next hour or so. And let's do new products.
All right, let's jump right in.
Okay, we got a bunch of stuff. We'll get
We
some of
do.
the ones that are just like kind of repetitive
Kinda
out of the way really fast. So we got more keyboard stuff.
Okay, so these are keyboard plates that you would use. You have an enclosure, you have a PCB, and you want to stabilize the keys so they don't kind of wiggle back and forth, especially if you're using socketed MX PCBs, which people love. This is a 60% GH60, very standard, common layout. You see it fits into any of our 60% keyboard shells. We have quite a few of them. We have this in a couple colors. We have silver. We have a gorgeous Blinka purple. Here's another angle shot. And then we also have black.
Yeah.
They're all the same thing, but I just wanted to carry them in a couple different colors. In addition
going on?
to these mechanical stability plates, we have this this foam insert sheet. So this is an insert that people are like, okay, I want stability, but I also want a little bit of softness. They don't want their keyboard to rattle. So it's a little thin piece of die-cut foam that you can put underneath the PCB or between the PCB and, underneath the PCB and the enclosure. And it just gives you just a little bit of padding, like 1 millimeter thick padding. And then, of course, all these are for 60% keyboards. So if you're making a keyboard, it's kind of what we recommend you start with. And this is just makes your build a little bit nicer.
Yeah. All right, then we got a bunch of these. So we have custom keycaps now, but then we also have a way for you just to carry around the custom keycap with you. So let's say, for you really like your mechanical keyboard, but you got to go out once in a while.
That's
So you
right.
can bring one of the keys with you.
Yeah. Well, I just think these are cool little fidget toys, and also if you want to show off your custom keys. So, of course, we have the animation. It doesn't come with a keycap. We sell tons of cool keycaps, but we're showing them, of course, with Adafruit.
Does not come with a human hand
Does not come with the really nice
for
nail
that
job
guy
either.
out there who's going to ask.
But we did get them in a couple different colors: red, green, blue, and white, which we thought were the most fun. And then let's go to the overhead real fast, and I can show them off because I want to show them in 3D.
Yeah. So I got
Focus
all
lock.
these.
Yeah,
And we just put more of the GitHub ones in stock.
that's true. If
And
you
then-
want those GitHub
Yeah,
keycaps.
and this is what it looks like without it on there, but let's go to the overhead.
Yeah. So these are all very similar, but again, different colors, so I can press them all at once, and they look great. Each one of them comes with a key switch already installed. It's a blue clicky, and on the bottom is a CR1220 coin cell battery. This mechanically connects like the LED to the battery, so it'll last like 7 or 8 years of use. And then, of course, you can always use a little screwdriver or something, wedge the key out, replace the battery if you'd like. You even can replace the LED if you want to. But it's just a fun little keychain. And we wanted to do a little bit of a giveaway once in a while where people can get one of our keycaps and also light it up. I don't know. I just think these are adorable.
Okay.
A cute little gift. And a fun fidget toy.
Strain gauges.
Next up, these are strain gauges that we will not be stocking again. We stock 75 millimeter strain gauges, and we got a shipment of 80 millimeter, and we didn't want to throw them out because they're still very useful. But that said, after we sell through these 80 millimeter long ones, we will not stock them again. They're a little bit cheaper than the 75 millimeter ones because we're just going to sell them out. And if you're doing a project, you don't need hundreds and hundreds of these. You only need like 5 to 10 for your project, and you won't need them again. And you're okay with the slightly longer size. They work great. I think we've got 5 and 10 kilogram versions.
Yeah. The other ones. And then,
Solenoid, adorable little solenoid. This one, it's a little friend. It's a 6-volt solenoid. A lot of people have been asking for us to please carry more low voltage solenoids because 12 volts, 24 volts is the standard. But this little mini lock solenoid, which is quite popular, we have a 12 volt. We've asked for it in 6 volts. Now, the deal is that if you're going to run it as a lower voltage, you're going to have to give it a lot more current because it still needs the same amount of power. So it is a 600 milliamp draw device. So just be aware if you're running it off of battery or even off of USB, that's kind of the limit of what USB will give you, 500 milliamps or so. That said, it's pretty easy. It's a pull type solenoid, so when it's unpowered, the little widget thing, the little triangle is sticking out. When you give it 6 volt power, the triangle pulls in and you can open the box or unlatch or unlock something. These are quite popular little push solenoids or push-pull solenoids for use in projects like geocaching, or if you want to have like a magical box that opens when somebody like scans their fingerprint or their eye, or machine learning project. Has mounting holes, very easy to use, and like I said, you can run off of 6 volts. You can might even get away with 5 volts. Just make sure again you need 600 milliamps.
next up.
Okay. We saw this being used in a bunch of like DIY keyboard projects, and I'm going to stock it. I will say, yes, it is not up to the USB-C PD spec, but it does work, and a lot of people were using them, and so we have a breakout that if you really want something that fulfills the specification and has the right
Yeah.
resistors, this will work fine on most computers. Every computer I tried on works. It may not work on a power supply that requires power delivery resistors. It's kind of a hacky thing. It's a little bit punk. I like to carry stuff that's a little bit punk, sometimes out of spec.
Yeah.
This is one of those things.
Some
Again,
guy emailed us and said that we flagrantly disregarded the USB spec and we're polluting the USB-C ecosystem.
And
so,
proud of it.
So so we get emails from guys often, and they say things like, your code is spewing all over the place because we have like so much open source code. And I've never in my entire life heard or seen emails to dudes from dudes. This is because you made this, Lemore, and I think it's cool.
I'm just carrying it.
I think it's cool.
Okay, well, I think it's cool too. It's a little punk rock. It's a little different. Again,
Yeah.
you care about the PD spec.
Anyways,
Get the version we make with the resistors on.
you get the products cost money, but that rant was free.
That's right. Okay, we had some tower lights last week, and I saw these from the same supplier, and it's kind of weird. It's a hemisphere alarm light. Inside is red, yellow, green LEDs, and you can see you can kind of turn them on and off. It's yellow, and then green, and then red. So it's meant for alarming, but it's like a hemispherical light. And there's two versions. Okay, so if you actually go
Want
back.
to go back to that one I
Yeah,
just did?
go
No?
back to this.
Go on.
Yeah, okay. So this version, see how it's got those holes in the side? Those holes are for a buzzer. So this version has a buzzer, and it plugs into USB. So one of the nice things about these alarm lights is that they show up as a serial port. You just send them commands through Python or shell script or whatever you like, Minicom, and they'll turn on the LEDs and they'll turn on the buzzer. So you don't need to do any wiring. The code is very, very simple. There's no 12-volt power supply. It's plug and go, and you've got this like alarm system. A lot of people like to do little like, oh, when I get email, it blinks, or if somebody went to my website, it blinks or buzzes or who knows what. This will do the job admirably. It's quite easy to use. If you want to use it through a website, you can even use it with web serial because again, it just shows up as a COM port. We also have a version that looks very similar, and it has the same code, the same kind of design, except this one is weatherproof. It doesn't have an IP rating, but I'm going to guess it's something like IP64. It's going to be dust-proof, and like I wouldn't dunk it underwater, but you could probably splash it with some water and it'll be fine. It is sealed and it doesn't have a buzzer. That's the trade-off. If it had a buzzer, it had holes in it, it wouldn't be weatherproof. But this one's probably better for more robotics or exposed stuff. You could probably have it outdoors as long as it isn't like directly in the rain, and you can use it for alarming or notifying somebody with light, not with sound. The other one with sound. So two different versions. Don't mix them up. You either get a buzzer or you get the weatherproofness.
Next up.
We got an update to our 2.9-inch e-ink flexible display. If you do e-ink, you know that e-ink displays are constantly coming out with new chipsets. They're pretty much the same shape, design, pinout, whatever, but the driver, it changes. The drivers are getting discontinued and replaced like every 3 months, it seems. Anyways, it's time for the 2.9-inch e-ink display. I think it was using the ILI 0373. It is now using the UC 8151D. We have code in CircuitPython, Python, and Arduino no matter what, so no worries. It's a flexible display. I think it's really cool. People were sending us some flexible displays today, and I'm like, you can get this e-ink display, and it has like 300 by 150 pixels, and it works great, and it's flexible. Check it out, and it works with all of our e-ink driver adapter boards, kind of have the standard pinout.
Next up.
Okay, next up, these are kind of cool. We actually saw these, I think, what Naomi had them on her.
Yeah, and I immediately started making glowing Lego-like bricks and posted it up, and
Cool.
was told I didn't use the right capitalization
Yeah,
for Lego.
it's a Lego police came after you.
So we got a couple different ones here, and
Okay, yeah.
this is magical when you see it. So we're just going to go to the demos
Okay, hold on.
almost right
I
away.
had to wire up the demo.
You didn't wire up the demo?
I did, but it's like then I had to move it because
Oh, yeah?
the thing was so large.
All right, then I'm just going to play this video until
Okay.
I have a video on our YouTube channel with
Yeah,
these two.
why don't you play it?
No, I can't. I'm doing
Oh,
this
no?
show right now. Yeah,
Sorry.
I can't go to YouTube.
Wait, where did my cable
Want me to stall for time here?
No,
Oh,
no,
there's
no,
that
I'm
one.
fine.
Here's this one.
go? Look, the show's live.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the overhead.
So
and then
if you
I'll
do have Lego-like bricks, you can embed these inside of it and make a lot of
Yes.
cool stuff. And that's
They
what I
do
did.
fit.
That's what I did, and they should do that too. And they should also stop bugging me about the
Lego capitalization.
the way that.
Do you want to put these in like a Lego cop car? Because then it could be like a Lego cop. Lego
Yeah, I
cop
do.
car. Okay. All right. So here's how it works. This is a inductive coil driver. So this driver, you give it, this one in particular is 5 volts. And here's an inductive coil. And we have inductive coil chargers and like key chargers. They use the inductive properties, why the code is inductive. This is one side of the coil, and then normally on a transformer you have another coil. There's a magnetic field coming out of here. It couples to the other coil, passing over, transmitting over electromagnetic energy into the other coil. And so if you have that coil, for example, as a inductor soldered onto an LED, you'll see that it glows when it's in the vicinity. Now, like any coil inductive transfer system, you want the coils to be coplanar. What does that mean? Is that, see how this coil is like curling around this way? You want it to curl in the same plane. So it works best when it's pointing in the same, it's within the same circular plane. If I tilt this over to the side, it gets dimmer, and then if I have it on its side, it actually turns off because the electromagnetic current has to go in the same plane. So the only thing is just watch out for that. If you're like, it doesn't work. No, it's working. You just have to have them pointing up. That said, this is really cool. These are used often for like models. We see, or again, like Lego or 3D printing things where you don't want to wire up an LED, or you can't because you have to embed it in something so thin and small. You don't want a battery pack, but you can have a coil underneath, and then it lights it up from below. I also think it'd be cool for arts and crafts. If you're sewing something, or you have a wearable and you want to have something that's movable or adjustable or doesn't have wires coming into it, and then you have it powered from this external coil. You get one of the coils, you just power it with 5 volts. You get a bunch of LEDs in different colors. You get red, yellow, green, blue, 2 of each of these little coils. And they look cool and they're nifty. We're going to do some 3D printing projects with these. So that's the 5-volt version. And then if you're like, the one thing about this is it only works, I think, works like, 1, 2, 3 inches away from the coil. And of course, you have to kind of be inside of the coil for it to work best. Maybe you're like, I want something a little bit bigger. I want something to work a little bit more distant. You can upgrade to the larger coil. Now, the larger coil is large. Hold on. Grab my mega coil.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna show this.
So that's a small
now
coil.
I'll go back. All right.
Sorry, there's so many coils. Okay,
That's
so this
coils.
is
Then we
the
got
big coil. This is small coil, big coil. Small coil, big coil. You'll notice it's very big. It's a bigger coil. That means it can transmit more electromagnetic energy. But the trade-off is you have to power it with a lot more voltage and current. So instead of 5 volts, you need 24 volts, which is a slightly unusual amount of voltage. We do have a 24-volt power supply. Just be aware, it's kind of, people don't often have a 24-volt power supply.
The bigger coil is fun because you can put the LEDs further away in the middle, and you could do a lot more fun stuff with it.
Yes.
People are talking about escape room projects, and there's a lot of things you could do with this.
This is cool.
Yeah.
So what's nice about this is, of course, the coil is bigger. So you can be much farther. You can be about 6 inches away. Inductor, you're like, well, the coil is 4 times larger. Why isn't it 4 times more powerful? It's because the inductance transference is 1 over r squared or something, 1 over r cubed. So it's not linear. But that said, let me grab a white one because it shows up very well. It works much further away than the other one. If you remember the other coil, it was like 2 inches. This one is like 6 to 8 inches away. Of course, it depends, what else you have and if it's like perfectly aligned with the plane of the coil. But this one is a little bit, because there's so much more power, it's a little bit more flexible. Even if you have it on its side, it still even lights up, even if it's not coplanar, because there's just so much power coming out of this coil. So those are the 2 coils. The LEDs themselves are the same, but again, 1 coil big, 1 coil small. Which do you need? Which do you want? Depends on how far away you want the LEDs to work and how much power you're willing to dump into the system.
All right. And next up, stars the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada, the community, our customers, everyone in the chat,
And the OctoCat keycap.
and our team is...
Oh, the LED glasses panel. Okay, this is the name of the product, LED glasses. I don't have a better name for it yet because this is what it is. I've always wanted to have LEDs on our face. We have a bunch of NeoPixel projects that we've posted, but they'll always like take some rings and you solder them to a cutie pie and then whatever. And I was like, well, what if we made it really easy to do LED glasses projects?
Facebook and Ray-Ban play their games, and we're going to play
This
ours.
is ours. This is not going to post to Instagram for you, but it will look hella cool. So here's the thing. Each board it's an I2C peripheral. There's a STEM QT connector on either side. There's no microcontroller. Instead, there's a little driver chip in the very center, kind of in the center of the temple, and that controls 116 RGB LEDs that are arranged in a kind of interesting way. So Paint Your Dragon came up with a interesting layout. Instead of just having it be just like straight up grid, there's 2 circles, and then there's a grid. I think it's 5 by 16 overlaid on those circles, and so you can have like circular designs, or you can have linear text scrolling type designs, or you can choose. You can have both. And I thought that was kind of neat because I really like the circular eye design, but I also want to be able to scroll text. So this demo shows, it's there's a lot of bright light on it, so it doesn't look very bright. Believe me, it's plenty bright, but you can have text going by and stuff going around the eyes. Each circuit board, you can have 1 of 4 different silkscreen. There's bug, there is cat, there is wolf, and there is dragon. So Phil B did the silkscreen for these. And here's the deal. you don't know which one you're going to get, and we can't control which one you're
We
going to
don't know
get.
either.
They are totally random, and they're boxed, and we don't know what you're going to get. We want to try something a little where it's like a little random, a little chancy. But all four are really beautiful designs, so no matter which one you may get, they're going to look cool. And of course, the electronics works the same.
All right,
So I thought I
you
would
got these?
show- Well, let me show.
You want to show them on the overhead, or do you want to wear them? What do you
I
want to
thought
do?
I'd wear to start, so hold on.
All right.
My lanyard. Lots of live demos today. Okay, so let's go to the front camera. So I've mounted them onto. I got these. They're for lack of a better word, they're like fashion glasses. I guess these are popular with K-pop stars. So this is me, and what's cool is these glasses you can wear over them. So you can see there's a grid. So see the grid is like a rainbow grid, and then there's two circles. And so that's kind of the thing I think is neat is you can choose. I'm switching between the two. Looking very cyberpunk. But whether you want this style or the other style, or both, you can have text, you can have swirly designs, all sorts of good stuff. So then I thought, let's go to the overhead, and I'll show. So yeah, this is them with the LEDs nice and bright, and just showing the two designs. So again, this is I2C only. You would connect this to your microcontroller, whether it's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, or it's like a Qt Py or whatever. And then you can run our CircuitPython or Arduino library code to control what's on it. The reason we didn't put the microcontroller on here is first off, we wanted to make it really simple so people could adapt and adjust it however they want. And second, because usually you would have like a feather or something stuck to the side, like here, and then a little cable to connect with it. And then of course, if you want to add, it's I2C, so I2C coming in this way, and then you can have sensors, accelerometers, light, detectors, what have you, on the other side, so you can make your own, like you said, like Facebook glasses, but way better, way more colorful. Not from Ray-Ban.
Yeah. And that is new products.
That's new products.
Okay, folks have some questions lined up in the chat. Go do
Yeah.
that over on Discord, adafruit.it/discord. Join all 30,000 of us. Let's do top secret, and then we'll bounce to the questions, and then we'll bounce for sure. So, from the vault.
I got a lot in the vault.
Yeah, so let's first start with a video that has something to do with these glasses, because I think
Okay.
that's the easiest thing to do, and you can get an idea of what we were doing earlier in the week.
Yes.
All right, Lady Ada, what is this?
This is my desk full of rainbows. I'm doing two things here. One is making a little demo here for the LED glasses so you can see text scrolling, and then also the LED rings glowing. So that's some Arduino test code working out here. And then over here, I've got my new Seesaw dev board based on the ATtiny 817. So this is connected to a Metro Mini over I2C. So this is the controller. And this is sending NeoPixel commands over I2C to here. And then I got a ring here just to demo it. And then I got on the oscilloscope, checking out the signals, making sure they're nice and clean, looking good. So this is going to be the replacement for the SAMD09 chipset. Really hard to get that chip, but this one is a little bit more available, less expensive, and also 3 or 5 volt capable. So altogether, kind of a nice little upgrade to our Seesaw designs.
Okay, and you have some breakouts.
Okay, this is a 8-channel ADC that runs over I2C, so making a STEMMA QT breakout for it.
Except?
I'm also, again, redesigning the CP2104 USB serial adapter board to the CP2102. Also going USB-C while we're at it. This is a kind of a new sensor from ST. It's a 8x8 multi-zone time of flight sensor, the VL53L5CX. So I made a little breakout.
All right. That's top secret.
Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah, all right. We're going to bounce right to
It's
the
not
questions.
yet. Yeah, let's go. I can jam
Yeah,
out
we're
with
going
the
to do
shades.
questions while you have those glasses on.
Yes, it's important.
Well, for the folks who are like, well, does the light go into your eyes? Well, no. And you can see through this really
the
well.
back is completely off, so the light is only pointing out at other people. They have to deal with you, and of course, I can see just fine. I mean, I can see Phil here.
Okay.
I can see you. Well, I can't see you because your camera's not on, and
I'm
it's
going
a video
to
show. But
just start going at these right now. Will Adafruit ever sell wireless LEDs without the inductor? Also, what's the max size of an inductor?
I think it's like a microhenry. We may stock the LEDs. I wanted to start with little starter kits, to get going. But if they're popular, yeah, I'll carry little LED kits.
Okay. Do you know the efficiency of them?
Not efficient.
Okay.
Do not use these for efficiency.
Okay, you
Use them
already
for
answered
cool lights.
the light question about the glasses.
Yes.
Question: if open source business closes, do you sometimes pick up their designs and make them? No, we haven't
Not that I
so
know
far.
of, no, I don't think
not
so.
because we've seen that and wanted to do it. So every single time we've made a design that someone else has made, we've contacted and worked with them. We even pay royalties to folks. We don't need to; it's open source, but we've always done that. So I guess maybe one day in the future, if there was an open source design and the company went out of business, there was no way to get a hold of the folks. Yeah, I guess we could. But I'd have to say. But by the way, if you're wondering, can you do that? The answer is yes, of course.
Of course, technically
But
you
I'm
can,
saying
we've never
we're,
done that.
we're held to a different standard than everyone else with everything. So
Yeah.
we wouldn't just make an open source design without trying to contact the creator just to let them know what we're doing, anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. Does the LED do the coil LEDs have built-in resistors?
No, I don't think they do. I think that the coil there's just not the voltage that's passed on the other side. It's only 3 volts max anyways or something. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that. I've not seen them burn out. I put them, you can put them as close as you want.
Okay. Someone wanted to know, I'll change the question a little bit. Could we make a pack of 4 if someone wanted to buy all 4 so they got each different one?
Not right now.
Yeah.
We're doing this and we're going to experiment with it. And
Yeah.
all 4 designs are cool, but we're going to just get a random one on each order. If you buy 4, you might get 4 of the same one.
Yeah, it's
no
a little.
guarantee.
It's a little. Yeah. Is the RP2040 now our go-to chip?
It's one of our go-to chips. We've made a couple designs with it. It's wonderful. The macro pad used the RP2040 and it was awesome.
Yeah. Next up. Been trying to make an animatronic on an Arduino Uno compatible with the Adafruit 16-channel servo PWM shield. How would I do a sweep of 180 degrees and 60 degrees afterwards?
Check out the servo library for Arduino, and there's actually a sweep example. And you can just set the angle you want, and you can do little sweeps, or just set the angle and let it move as fast as it can, and that's how you would have it move back and forth. You'd set the angle and then wait, and then set the angle to something else.
Do you know the power draw of the glasses at max if you were to put them maximum brightness?
I don't know, but probably like 50 milliamps or something. It's not as bright as you'd think because it's multiplexed. So it's not driving all the LEDs at once. It's actually only driving 9 LEDs at once.
Okay. And next up. Oh, this is Hackaday Future still in limbo? I don't know. For the interview that I did, so Siemens bought Hackaday. I have nothing to do with the sale. I started the Hackaday site 16 years ago, but it went to Weblogs Inc. and then afterwards SupplyFrame, and now SupplyFrame's owned by Siemens. So I don't know.
Did that sale complete?
Don't know.
I don't even know.
I mean, there's regulators and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
And we probably won't know. Siemens is a publicly held company, so eventually we'll be able to probably see something in their annual reports and more.
Yeah.
But as far as what does the future hold, I haven't seen any difference in the quality or
Kind of
quantity
coverage
or
or,
the
yeah.
coverage.
It's
And I
still
think
at
they're
least
doing
one
remote
Hackaday.
econ. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far so good. I would like to continue to hope for the best, and then I guess I'll be disappointed later if something happens. But I'm just going to try to.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to assume the best, and this is an important thing for people, and they're going to keep doing a good job at it. Next up, people like the macro pad. What's the best time to ask questions or ask an engineer? Oh yeah, at the end.
During Ask
Yeah,
Engineer?
during the question
time.
question time. Yeah, because we try to get through them really fast, and then some people like to.
Not after. That's
Yeah,
not
then
good.
some people like to just go through this. Do you know the frequency of the inductive coil alternate?
No, I don't know. I don't know the details. Kilohertz maybe. It's not audible.
Okay. What are the specs of the new time of flight sensor?
Check the ST datasheet. I do not know.
Okay. And is there any chance we would make our own silicone? So we could, but we're not going to because other people who are really into that are going to do that, and it'll be easier for us
And
to
they're
just.
good at it.
Yeah, and we can make suggestions. So I think one of the new best things that happened was the Raspberry Pi folks made a chip, and we're able to give them information, feedback, and more. And I think that's going to be the best way for the community to get all the features they want. If someone said, like, what chip do you want? I'd be like, well, like a RISC-V that has USB. like that.
Yeah,
and,
we asked
and
them.
some RAM.
But if I was
So-
doing silicon, I wouldn't do hardware. It's very hard to do both.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not that interested in it, to be honest.
We do not own Radio Shack yet, but we did an interview with the new owner of Radio Shack. I have a 2.7-inch sharp memory display that I'd like to be able to see at night. Any recommendations on how to light it?
Just use some LEDs. I think that'll work great.
Okay. What is the product code for the Stemma board for rotary? Maybe someone can help out in the chat.
Yeah, I think check out adafruit.com and just
You
type
could start
in
to
the
search for
words.
it,
It'll
yeah.
show you the product ID.
Yeah, I can't bounce to that browser right now or this site because I'm doing a show thing. And I think that is it. Going once. Going twice. Them's your questions.
All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to take off my magical glasses.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. That is our show this week. Special thanks to Takar behind the scenes, who's helping out
Hi, Takar.
in our company chat room, and then all the folks that are in the chat answering questions and helping each other. Thank you so much. The code is inductive.
Now you know why.
Now you know
Not
why.
inductive reasoning.
Yeah,
Inductive LED wireless setups.
and we'll see everybody.
Thanks
Next week.
everybody.
This has been an Adafruit production. Here is your moment of Zener.
Bye.